Hey, welcome to the Mind Hacking Happiness podcast. My name is Sean Webb. We're presenting day 42 of the 45-day Mind Mastery 101 course for Mind Hacking Happiness. We're almost to the end, guys. You're getting the very best content, although we're going to keep going with our podcast, not on a daily basis, but probably on a weekly basis to put out new content that helps us expand our understanding and use different examples from our regular everyday life to get these lessons hammered into your existence to where they're just second nature for you or even first nature for you so you can control and master your mind at will. Don't forget you can get indefinite access to this course at mindhackinghappiness.com if you go sign up there. And don't forget to drop your name on the forums of XYZ sent me or get somebody to say XYZ sent me, and both of you guys will be entered into the drawing for the $100 gift card at the end of this process. Hope this message finds you well. Here's day 42. Hey, welcome to day 42, the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And I tip my hat to anyone who got that joke of our 45-day Mind Mastery 101. For Mind Hacking Happiness, today is day 42, and we are reviewing the most important lessons of the last 41 days so far, which also include the me, your top meta-awareness tool. And I only say that because in the past, people have loved this meta-awareness tool, the me, to be able to bring themselves out of whatever reaction they're having in the heat of the moment to say, oh, the me is angry, or the me is frustrated, or the me is a little afraid of that right now. And it brings them into that space of remembering that there's a space between you and your mind's reactions and what's going on, the me. And so when you verbalize it, especially in incorrect grammar, which is like, hello, bing, big old flag waving in the air that you can't help but notice. When you use the improper grammar, it says, whoops, let's really take a step back here for a second and realize the me is having a reaction, and that necessarily doesn't mean that I have to play along with that, and I don't have to be swayed by it. We can look at it, we can analyze it, we can understand it immediately, and it can then subside so that I can get on with whatever I need to do in this moment. Because, it might be a moment that you need to react, but maybe it would be better to react with a little less emotional output than, what your thinking mind, which hasn't been shut off, what your thinking mind says should be done, because we live in a thinking world now. So we're going to revisit the me and the tool that we can use on a daily basis, even in the heat of the moment, right? So, again, the basics of separation, if you can see your mind, then you know that you aren't your mind, because, again, fingertip can't touch itself, eye can't see itself, tooth can't bite itself. There has to be some level of separation there for a perception to be perceived. And so when you're able to see your mind, when you're able to see the actions of your mind, you know you're not your mind. And so that gives us a good clue on a mind not being able to watch itself. And you're not the thing that you're watching. And from there, we can just remind ourselves from a daily existence, from a moment-to-moment existence. Whenever we're hitting that turbulent water that could start to ruin our day, we remind ourselves we're not that thing that's having that reaction at the moment. And so we put the word the in front of the word me, and it's that simple. It's not a big process. It can be done in a split second. Anytime you use the word me, just put the word the in front of it. Example, that makes me angry goes to that makes the me angry. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell the me what to do. Example, he or she broke up with me. He or she broke up with the me. And what this does from a very real standpoint in the mind is it subjectifies the whole reaction that's going on in your mind at any one moment that may or may not be helpful. And usually it's not helpful. Emotions can be helpful. The feelings that we get from our subconscious, from our lower levels of consciousness that bring up, even from within our bodies, right? That bring up wariness or extra sensory perception in us, to use the very dictionary definition of that term. It's our multiple levels of consciousness that are trying to speak to us because they see something. There was a study done, I'm not sure if we talked about it in this training or not, but there's an amazing amount of wisdom in the body. There was a study done called the Iowa Gambler's Task. And the Iowa Gambler's Task put some people in a room and said, we're going to play a card game. And you're going to pick from these two stacked decks of cards. Of course, they didn't tell me they were stacked. They're two decks of cards. And we're going to, if you pull a good card, you're going to win money. If you pull a bad card, you're going to lose money. And so they stacked the decks. And one deck, they said, okay, we're going to give it a positive cash expectation. So when you play this deck, you're going to win, but you're going to win slower over time. And then on this other deck, the second deck, we're going to have you lose a little bit of money. We're going to stack it to lose. And the ups and downs are going to be amazing. You're going to win a lot, then you're going to lose a lot. Then you're going to win a lot, then you're going to lose a lot. And then they mixed in a number of other cards from the other deck just to make it confusing enough that people might not be able to figure it out right away. And so they put these lie detector sensors on people that measured their skin conductivity, that their heart rate, their jaw tension, their whole bunch of stuff that they were measuring, and said, okay, let's start playing. And the people started pulling the cards from the deck, and after about 50 pulls, the average person in the study said, I think I have an idea what's going on, but I'm not quite sure. And then after 80 pulls, everybody had it figured out. It was, okay, this deck is stacked to give me money, and this deck is stacked to take away money. So I'm just going to keep pulling from this deck over here. And so then they ended the study, they gave them the money, and then they left. Now, the interesting thing was when they looked at the data associated with their body's reaction. Their body's reaction indicated that the body itself knew what was going on with the two stacked decks of cards after 10 pulls. So it took the average human being 5 times as long to understand what was going on in their in the game compared to what their body understood was going on in the game. So there is a lot of wisdom, right? There is a lot of wisdom in the body that we can pull from. And so we don't want to completely shun our feelings or our emotions or our reactions. We do want to acknowledge them. We don't want to just ignore them because that's the bad thing. That's when the limbic system says, hey, I'm sending you a signal, and you're like, yeah, whatever. Don't do that. We don't do that. We say, okay, I get your signal. I get your communication, and I understand why it's occurring. And the limbic system goes, oh, okay, cool. We're good. As long as you know what's going on here to make the decision about what to do next, then I'm going to leave it in your hands. We're cool. I trust you. So then it becomes your position to move from compulsion to choice, right? You're not compulsed by your emotions anymore. You have a choice of what emotions to use constructively or not constructively, and what reactions to use constructively or not constructively. Because a lot of times, our body might sense something that's not really there, right? We get that nervous feeling, and all of a sudden everything turns out to be okay. It's not that our body is correct 100% of the time. Our body is exceptionally perceptive, but it can be wrong. And so, especially in this world of thinking and cognition and having to work our way through our problems, etc., we need to be able to put that executive decision-making process back into order, back into our tool bag, so to speak. And so that's what we're doing when we're able to take a look at our mind, see what's going on in our mind, acknowledge the messages that we're getting from our subconscious, and then make a rational decision on what we need to do next. And that's what it's all about. That's what mind mastery is. It's not being controlled by the noise, taking the noise into consideration, and understanding that we are not that noise, and then making an executive decision about how to move forward from that moment, from wherever we are. And that's what the tool, the me, is all about. It is reminding us that we are not that BS that our mind is creating. We sometimes have to deal with that BS that our mind is creating, but We are not that. And so we can take a moment to remind ourselves with this tool, the me, boy, that makes me angry. That makes the me angry. Ooh, now there's a huge, thick black curtain that comes down between you and your mind and you and the reaction of your mind. And now you're no longer controlled by that reaction. You are, okay, I'm taking this into consideration. I am acknowledging that it exists. So limbic system, you've been hurt. I understand exactly why it exists because I know that, my attachment to XYZ is not matching with my perception of XYZ at the moment. I'm feeling attacked. But we're going to move past that for a second, and we're going to use this moment constructively rather than me lashing out in anger of whatever just happened and creating more negativity, more destruction, more of moving in the wrong direction. Does that make sense? That's exactly what we're doing with the tool of me, is because we're strengthening our meta-awareness muscles. We're strengthening our process of being able to separate a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, make a decision about what's going on in our mind, and moving forward in a very rational and controlled fashion. Right? That's exactly what the me is all about. Also, because of our colloquialisms of using the word I, we can also do it with changing the word I to the word me, because even though I see the subject I as kind of a representation of the true self within us, a lot of times in language we say, I'm angry. I am angry. And so you got to say, the me is angry, or the me is a little sad about that. And if you're with people who understand your vocabulary, you can make some good jokes out of it. You can say, the Democrats or the Republicans or whatever did something in Congress yesterday. Oh, well, me is a little sad about that. Right? It's just, I don't know. But sorry, I have a weird sense of humor. Okay, so the me simply reminds you, you don't have to be controlled by your mind. You are in control of your mind. You are the driver. You have a mind. You are not your mind. Right? And that gives you an amazing amount of power. Now, your homework for the next few days is going to be moving forward outside of the bounds of this 45-day Mind Mastery 101, because, by the way, this doesn't end for you in 3 days. First of all, we have more continuing education connected with this stuff that you'll be able to have access to. But at the same time, this is step one of you practicing this stuff from here forward. Because mind mastery comes after 10,000 hours of practice. And so we've given you the basic tools. We've given you the basic understanding. We've given you the experience of actually seeing it in your mind and playing with it, right? Which is awesome. You move forward from here with this stuff that changes your life from here forward. And I know you know that because you're feeling it already, right? If you've been doing the exercises, this doesn't work for you. This works for you if you do it right. Period. So there you go. So your homework is to practice the me from here forward, whenever you need to. All right? We will talk more about meta-awareness disciplines that are not meditation-based tomorrow. Hope all is well with you. Talk to you soon.